Oh my god, that looks so cool.
Larger than one of my friends.
Incredibly big. What the
That's how big.
I don't know. You have way too much space in the US somehow. Hi and welcome back. So we already covered a few things about the USA that are very different to Europe and Germany, for example. And today we are looking into the deep nitty-gritty details of your home. So what is different in your home than in my home or in a British home, for example? And this is exactly what we are gonna do today. But before we start this, please hit like and subscribe. It so much to grow, to produce more content, and yeah, it would be just awesome. Thank you so much for that. It really helps me out. Thank you. Okay, let's start into the reaction.
Hi, welcome back to the ANS way, and in today's video we are going to be talking about 10 things that are different about UK homes versus American homes, especially as we've been living here for about 2 years now.
Stay tuned until the end because we've got
That
some
is such a cool neighborhood here with this lake. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Is this now US or UK?
what you think about American versus UK homes. Please do subscribe if you enjoy this video. Number one, the most obvious one, it's size or lack thereof. Most UK homes are absolutely tiny. We mentioned this in a couple of other videos and they're smaller than I had anticipated.
In America, by comparison, when we got here, we were finding homes were well in excess of 2,000 square feet. I would say.
Okay, wait, a square feet? 3 feet is a meter, so it's a ninth. So 2,000 would be something like 220 square meters.
Typically around 3,000, and initially we thought that's way too large for us. But
That is
what
so
we have
large.
found is it's allowed for more rooms, more functionality in your house overall, and space to do things that you want rather than struggling to cram your clothes,
Yeah, okay, that's true.
storage.
But also way more space to clean.
Things
I hate
you
cleaning.
can actually live in your home and do things. That leads to number two, and that is the functionality of US homes. And I'm talking walk-in closets and pantries and dedicated laundry
Okay.
rooms. In the UK, they would not come in a typical home. As we said in the first point, UK homes are tiny, so they don't
That
really
is not a
have
UK
space
home.
to have those
I
types of
hope.
rooms. But here in the US, they do. And it's something that I absolutely love here.
Number three on the list, the kitchen. Now the kitchens in the UK are either non-existent little rooms somewhere in the house, either at the front or the back, that are separate from every
Yeah,
other room.
that is like a German kitchen as well, yeah.
US, however, it's kind of a central location for gathering dining rooms
Okay.
around it, the living area, so that you cook and entertain at the same time.
That looks
This
very
is something
spacious.
we have to get used to because
I
having a
think in Europe, if you have such a house, you have made it, you know, then you are very rich. Or not very rich, but rich. You earn enough money. Let's act like
kitchen in
this.
your living room's a little bit weird for English people, I would say.
Although newer build homes are starting to have this more open plan
Yeah,
style living, but
that's
definitely
true.
when we were growing up, the kitchen was a separate area.
Yeah.
One of the magical things we do have here in the US is the garbage disposal. I throw everything in there, all of the food scraps, turn it on, run the water, and it's gone.
And it's
so
brilliant
good.
when you live somewhere like Vegas that gets super hot in the summer, or for most of the year it's super hot, and you can just get rid of the food rather than have it in the trash can outside.
Trash can.
But where does this garbage disposal go? Because like Germans are so obsessed with recycling. I'm not so much, but where does it go? Does it just go like the toilet, or where does it go?
I'm adjusting my language.
Like in
for it.
America.
I am.
The other thing that Selena really misses is something from the UK, which is a drainage area that's built into
never
the
used
sink
it, so
platform,
really.
sink basin, right next to the sink. So when you wash up, you put it over there and it drains off and it runs into the sink, so the water comes off. I don't miss it that much because I'm a dishwasher person. And we have these little drying mats and I find them perfectly fine, but you do mention all the time the
I quite
drainage.
like that it has that in the UK homes, and if we have shots, we'll share that here.
And the final thing, which we've mentioned a couple of times, but I think it's really important, pantries. I don't think I've ever seen a pantry in the UK, personally. Here in the US, every home that we looked at has a separate pantry or a huge area that acts as a pantry. And we get to store our huge 25 kilo Costco bags of rice and cereal in there.
The other thing that you might find, especially for the
If we are in a house, you know, where a room is left, then we would use this as a Vorratskammer, so as a room where you put all your things in. But it's not like in the next to the kitchen. It's like mostly in a different floor or stuff like that.
Our US viewers is that in the UK, our washing machine is typically in the kitchen. Now, when I think about that
Seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it sounds really strange. Can you imagine you'll be cooking, or perhaps you're having dinner in the kitchen, you've got friends around, and then your washing machine is going off. Yeah, so a very weird thing about the UK kitchen.
Number 4 is
No, washing machine is in the washroom, not in the kitchen.
bathrooms or bathrooms, as is said in the US. They pronounce their THs. So many bathrooms. We have 3.5 in here, and I think in the last place we stayed was 3.5. All of the homes that we looked at had between 3 and 5 bathrooms. They are obsessed. In the UK, you'll be lucky to have one main bathroom and maybe, depending on when your home was built, an ensuite, maybe.
We have, I mean, yeah, we have 3, but mostly like more like 2. Like one bathroom and one for the guests, you know? So yeah, and if you're of course in a student home, you have one bathroom.
Certainly when we were growing up, that just wasn't the norm in houses, but since the 2000s they started building the new homes started having an ensuite. But even then the ensuite bathroom was tiny and
Comically small.
Comically small, where 2 of you cannot be in there at the same time. There would be one sink, and that's another main difference. Here in the US, their ensuites really do cater for 2 people. They have double sinks, and that would really be a luxury in a UK home. Actually, when I went to one of my colleagues' homes, her shower was so large, it was larger than one of my friends'
incredibly big. What the
That's how big it is here. I don't know if this is the same across the US.
Again, those is in a rich home, in a very, very rich home, you have kinds of these, but you know, no. I don't know. You have way too much space in the US somehow. Please hit like and subscribe. It would help me so much. Thank you.
One of the biggest things I found strange with the bathrooms here, especially the ensuite, was that they don't typically have a door. And that for me is very different from the UK. UK, you will always have
How do you close if you are on the toilet?
door to your ensuite or your bathroom. At number 5, parking, and this may surprise our American viewers, but in the UK, parking can be a real issue, and it's something that we suffered with when we were looking at new build homes.
That is like, if you are not outskirts of towns or cities, that is like, you don't find a parking space. You don't.
Where they wouldn't have a driveway, so you would be assigned a parking spot, maybe 1 or 2 depending on the size of the home. But that was really something that you had to consider when buying a new build, is whether you're even going to have a space to park your car.
Before moving out here, we bought a 3-bedroom family apartment, and you have 1 allocated space, and that was it. There was no option to buy another one. And this isn't just places that are dense cities. We lived out, much further out from the city of London, so it's quite an odd way to live in the UK. America, by comparison, has excessive space. Especially here in Vegas, you have ample room to park your many, many cars, trucks, boats, jet skis, motorbikes, RVs. And number 6 is garages. In the UK, it's kind of a mixed bag. Older homes tended to have garages in which you cannot park modern cars because they were built for things like minis, metros, which most cars are too big now, so you can't actually get in and open the doors. So you could buy an older home, have a garage, you can't park your car, so they tend to be used.
I think we had them in Germany, but I never really used one of them, so I don't know.
Storage. Newer build homes, depending on where you are, as we mentioned, will either have no spaces and no garage, or we did buy a home in 2015 which did come with a garage that was big enough for a car and 2 tandem parking spaces.
Which is quite rare.
It's very rare, especially the closer you get to London. America, on the other hand, it's integral to their home design. They generally will have a double garage that fits within the home footprint. So instead of it being external to the house, it'll be built into the home. And they
That's
can
interesting because garages is more like a separate house in Germany.
Bigger than a UK apartment. I think this is a small one, it's about 400 square foot. Some of the ones that we looked at were maybe 500 to 600 square foot, which I'll throw something up on the screen. A UK apartment can be 600 square foot.
At number 7,
So 600 square foot is around 70 square meters, of course. I mean, I had a student home where I had like 27 and that was already big. So yeah, that is, I don't know, 200 square feet. So yeah, that is a big flat.
have getting your mail. And this is something that I definitely miss about the UK. In the UK, we have mail that just comes through the door. It's wonderful. You do not have to go anywhere. You hear when the postman arrives, you get your letters. Here, we have to trek about a block to go and get our mail. And it's a discussion every day. Oh, yeah, have you been to check the letterbox yet? In the UK, it's so much easier. And that's something I...
Why don't you have a letterbox at your home where the mail guy comes and puts the... That is weird.
Definitely miss. And I don't know if that's everywhere in the US, but certainly here in Nevada, that's how you get your mail.
Number 8, temperature control, and specifically temperature control rather than heating, because in the US, at least in the parts that we would choose to live, nearly every home has
they are so great. ACs are so great. I have that in Thailand and in Bali, stuff like this. And to be honest, it's so not bearable here in Germany in the summer. It's so not cool because we don't have AC.
Conditioning. Now, to a UK person, that generally means cooling the home. The way it works here in the US, which is new to me as well, it's amazing. Air comes from the sky. So it cools and heats. They're separate units. One's a gas burner or furnace, and one is an air conditioning unit that cools down. But it keeps and maintains the perfect temperature all year round.
That's
really hot summers, which we get here, 46 degrees Celsius. It's perfect in here. And when it's cold, it takes, how long would you say to warm up in here?
10 minutes maybe?
10 minutes at most to warm the whole house. This leads us on to how it works in the UK.
That's absolutely incredible. We have like heaters and it takes like 2 hours to get one room done. And yeah, that is incredible. Especially here, I'm in the basement, and I really always like, shut the door, it gets cold again, it's cold again. So yeah, it's unbelievably bad in winter and summer, and you always change floors if you can already, because you in the summer heat you can't bear the highest floor, and in the winter you can't bear the lowest floor because it's too cold or it's too hot. It's really not cool. It's really not cool.
We have radiators, which firstly, to me,
that is what we also have.
We've done a lot better job of the modern panel one. When I saw they're in the way, I think they're filled with water. A boiler heats the water up and it comes out, and 2 hours later the house might be livable. I had no idea. I thought the radiator system was quite good until we got here. But trust me, heat from the sky is where it's at. I love it.
At number 9, we have gardens versus backyard. In the UK, gardens are like a national treasure for us. They're lush and green. Lots of British people are really into gardening, and sometimes they're disproportionately sized in comparison to the house. So you might have a small house.
I mean, in the city, you don't have gardens, right? There's no space. But, if you go to the outskirts, there's more gardening, but not so much, I think, like in the UK.
But then you might have this 100-foot garden with these large orchard trees, whereas here in the US, we're not finding that is as normal. And I get it, it can depend where you are. Yeah. And I've had a few people say to me, why do you call it a backyard and not a garden? Because it's not a garden. There's nothing about our backyard that makes me think of a garden, but it's different. It's a more functional space to put a pool, have your barbecue set up, play games. So to me, it is
so cool. That again, that would be such a rich thing to have in Germany. That is such a rich thing. You make, I don't know, 2 million or have 2 million euros, stuff like this, if you comfortably live in this thing. No, not 2 million maybe, but you are very, very filthy rich.
Have your barbecue,
especially if this is close to a bigger city.
Play games. So to me, it is a backyard that you just make into whatever you want it to be, whereas in England, it truly is a garden.
Finally,
I feel so poor now, seeing that this is like standard in the US, and in Germany it would be like, oh my god, you're so filthy rich.
We know this personally because we did put out a video that wasn't specifically about this, but we asked the question, and that is hardwood or hard surfaces versus carpet in your home. Now, I'm still torn. I'm quite traditional in the sense of I love carpet and it feels nice, makes the place feel warmer, more cozy. But I have come around to the practicalities of hard flooring. We use luxury vinyl plank, which is a high quality vinyl, but it mimics hardwood. And it's super easy to clean. You can wipe anything up, you can drop stuff on there, and You just,
And it looks good.
it does look really nice. Where I struggle a little bit is we put lots of rugs down in the soft areas.
Yeah.
So we turn hardwood into carpet just in little spaces.
That is exactly the same thing that the people do in Germany.
I think indicates that carpet is the way to go for me.
I know lots of people are going to say, no, carpet's awful, it's unhygienic. I think the thing that gets me about American homes, and it was one of the things when we was looking at rentals, was they would have hardwood everywhere, even in the bedrooms. And for me, I do like a bedroom to be cozy with carpet, but a bit like Ant, I've come around, so I get it. I do understand how much more practical hardwood is. It's just, it loses the cozy feeling of a UK home.
There you have it. 10 things that make US and UK homes different.
But do you want a cozy feeling? I don't know. I don't even need a cozy feeling. For cozy feeling, I have my bed. That's very cozy, so I don't need to feel cozy when being up, you know? Then I want to be productive more, you know? I want to feel... I don't like if everything is too cozy. I want cozy spaces and I want productive spaces. You know what I mean? Yeah, but this was very interesting. I think, as I thought, the US is, or the UK is way more closer to Germany than the US is. Basically, everything is in the UK, probably like in Germany, for example. And I'm just shocked. I'm so shocked how much more you get for your money in the US than in Europe. Or I don't know how much this costs, but it seems like if everybody can afford it, that you pay much less. And yeah, so the best thing would be, of course, to make your home in the US and ship it over. Of course, that is not possible, right? It's a home. But yeah, it's just incredible how rich things are very basic in the US and are like, yeah, that is, of course, my thing. And I think it was a very neat look into the differences of USA and UK. And I think what we of course know in Europe is that the US has way more space. You know, I think, you know, we have the east side, and there's in the middle is nothing at all. You know, there are a few towns and cities, I think, but you know, most things are on the east and on the west coast. You know, and of course the US, as we see in one of the last videos, is large, unbelievably large. So of course you have so much more space, and of course then space, if you're not in a city, probably costs much less than in Europe, where everything is mostly dense. You know, you have so many mountains then here and there that you can really build stuff like that. And also probably way more regulations than in the US, because US is the land of the free. So probably they are very free to do whatever they want, which makes things also probably much cheaper. But yeah, it was a very, very good look. Please recommend more videos about this in this topic range. It would be very cool to go deeper into this maybe. Of course, I don't know so much about homes. I never was like, oh, I buy a new home or stuff like that. Always rented, and I also don't think I will or want to buy somewhere in the future, because I always want to go to different places, different countries, and want to explore them. And then, of course, if I have a home, yeah, that would hinder or, you know, be an obstacle for it. But yeah, please tell me more about it. I would really appreciate it. And keep liking and subscribing, and we see each other in the next video. Bye! Wow, so many differences.